How did you think? Are you going to be able to edit that? Because I feel like there was a lot of. It was like a little bit, you know.
It's fine.
Okay.
Sorry for my squeaky chair.
Oh my god.
I say, listen, we're gonna drag you like
So
we drag
annoying.
Shabazz with his
That's
fucking
all right.
smoke
Listen,
detector.
I'm fat and I made the chair hurt.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's gonna be a clip. Congratulations.
You crazy kids. You're listening to Off Color, a podcast where we keep it real about race and identity and anything else we want to talk about because we know our rights here at Off Color Podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Henderson, aka the Tan Tigress.
And I'm Janice Matsko, your producer and editor. Hey Rebecca, don't forget to drop that disclaimer we talked about.
This episode contains explicit language. Because, you know, we like to pop off here at Off Color and we drop F-bombs left and right. So if you have this on in the car with your kid, they're going to get an education.
For some reason, I can't hear Hashim anymore.
Because I wasn't talking.
Oh,
Surprise.
I thought I saw you talking. Maybe he was just doing that.
I just heard him roll his eyes.
My face is much louder than I am.
You can definitely.
Man, no.
It is.
Yeah.
It
I
is.
think it's an audible. There's a time when you can definitely hear Hashim's eyes rolling. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Welcome to Off Color. I'm so excited that today we have via Zoom, we have two incredible guests to talk about our very exciting topic that I know everyone wants to talk about, the presidential election and voting. Nobody's sick of that. Nobody is not wanting to talk about that. Am I right, people? I think I'm right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present. You may know her from her congressional campaign. You may know her from Twitter. You may know her from her books. You may know her from all kinds of stuff, but I know her as Saira Rao. Oh, welcome, Saira. Our next guest is no stranger to the Off Color mic. We have been big kicking it with this Dem Politico for several years now, and he is live in charge. His name is Hashim Coates, and he is single. Hashim Coates is single and ready to mingle, y'all.
Yes.
All right, so welcome. So we're just going to start getting right into it because I am a new person, you guys. I am focused. I am on top of it. I will be straight to the point, and I am very excited. All right? Hashim, please stop laughing at me because I can see you. All right.
No, but let's have them do a quick intro to do their, kind of what they're bringing to the table.
All right,
type of thing.
fine. What do you bring to the table?
I think I'm just bringing to the table someone who has been politically active my whole life, a card-carrying member of the Democratic Party up until about a year ago. I'm now independent. And someone who is, like so many of the rest of us, following this election very closely.
Hashim Coates, Colorado native, with a splash of living in Oakland. But I bring to the table, I guess, a Black gay military Democrat card carrying loyalist perspective. And I guess I only keep my card to make sure that it gets me into the room. Not to say that I'll behave like they want me to behave once I'm in there, but because I have the card, guess what? I have access and you will hear what I have to say. So that type of perspective, I guess I'm bringing that to the table. With being old and tired of respectability politics type of shit too.
Hashim, are you in a campaign office right now? It kind of looks like.
I am actually in the Arapahoe County, but yes, I'm in the Arapahoe Dems office right now. Yes.
Are you working? Are you volunteering? What's happening?
Yes.
All right.
It's a mixture of both. I came up here to take care of some personal stuff. Then I had a conversation with Kristen Mallory, who's the chair. And I don't know, I might do some AAICD work here or some campaign work here.
Wait, I have a question. What is your role in the Democratic Party in Colorado?
Okay. All right. So AAICD stands for the it stands for the African American Initiative of the Colorado Democratic Party, which is basically the Black Caucus of the Democratic Party, to help make sure that Black issues are addressed from a Colorado perspective, whether it's through policy or through candidacy. My role, I serve as the first vice chair for that, but I also have roles in Arapahoe County. I am the House District 36 chair, and I am also the chair of Arapahoe County Commission 5, and I serve as...
You have a leadership role in the Democratic Party in Colorado,
I do.
Correct?
I do.
Okay. So...
Whatever that's worth, but yeah.
And why... All right, let me start over. So one of the reasons I thought that this delicious pairing of Hashim and Saira would go so well together is because you're this card-carrying Dem. You are very involved in the party. You hold various leadership roles in the party. Yeah. Saira came in to shake up the party and ended up leaving.
Well, yes, but I want to say that I want to be a little bit more tempered than I have potentially been in the past. And can I read you a tweet from quintessential white feminist Rose McGowan? Have you guys seen what she tweeted yesterday? And Twitter the internet has melted down.
No,
I think this might be a good place for us to start the conversation. Can I just read it to you all?
Hit it.
Okay. Rose McGowan. What have the Democrats done to solve anything? All caps. Help the poor? No. Help Black and brown people? No. Stop police brutality? No. Help single mothers? No. Help children? No. You have achieved nothing. Nothing, all caps. Why did people vote Trump? Because of you motherfuckers. So,
Rosie Cates, that's not the take, Rose. This is why she's blocked.
Not the take.
This is why I block her on Twitter, honestly. I don't really...
This is the rich white woman, Rose?
Yeah, she was on Charmed.
Yeah.
You would know her from Charmed. She was the lost sister. That's how I know her personally.
Oh, she had the one whose power sucked. Gotcha.
No, she was good. She was a half white lighter and she could orb. So she was like, you know what I'm saying? So that's the last time Rose McGowan was charming me, if you know what I mean. But I think that is right there. Saira, you're absolutely correct. That is sort of the heart of what I wanted to talk about today. So it's heavy because I would say, do you think the Democrats, well, I'll just ask all three of you. Why not? Do you think that statement is true? Do you think the Democrats haven't done anything and that's why we have Trump?
Well, I'm registered independent, which in Colorado is not so bad because you get to basically pick your ballot in any primary and then, vote how you want in any election. I was raised in a conservative household, so all I heard growing up was, the Democrats don't do anything. I don't think that's true based on what I've seen in my adult life, but up until a year or two ago, I wasn't involved in politics because of all of my various privileges that allowed me to not pay attention to what's going on.
There's some truth there, right? We could do more. The incremental steps that we made can sometimes register as nothing or not register on the scale. But I think some of it is, I hate to hear that shit because for me, it's a matter of calculation. And without the Democratic Party doing the little bit that it does or what it does, the losses would be severe because the Republican Party is like, yeah, we don't take prisoners. The Democratic Party is like, yeah, we want to make friends. And I'm like, no, let's do the Democratic stuff in a Republican way and squash all the other people. Or we're like, yeah, we're going to do all this good shit for the poor people, right? Or for the marginalized people, for those that feel some type of way about being poor and don't want to be called poor. And we'll just smash and decimate our way through and everybody will be mad. But once we get there, they'll recognize that life is better here. But no, the Democratic Party doesn't want to do that. Also, Rose is out of touch. Like, we'll just do the ACA, right? We'll focus on that and how that has helped people. Like, you can't say that the Democratic Party hasn't done anything. Can they do more? Hell yes, they can do a lot more. Those type of comments are damaging right now, especially right now. 74 days until election day. There's no fucking time to do a plan to fix anything. You can't even straighten crooked teeth in 74 days. Like, can I lose 10 pounds in 74 days? Maybe. But yet I'm supposed to rebuild a damn party, a juggernaut party in 74 days? Come on. We're the adult.
I mean, I agree with everything you say, Hashim. And I guess I just want to say that, this is all very disinformation-y, like the false equivalence. If you're not following my friend Shireen Mitchell on Twitter, please do. She's at Digital Sista, and she's been tracking all of this, which is how disinformation plays out in real life. And Rose McGowan's tweet is perfect for that. So literally comparing, look, Biden is extremely problematic. We can all agree to that. He is not an actual whole-ass fascist, though. We've got a fascist in the White House. We have an entire fascist government. And to say that they're the same is literally playing right into the hands of Russia. Yep. This is literally what it looks like. This is what disinformation looks like. All of that being said, is the Democratic Party not racist? Of course not. Is the Democratic Party not sexist? Of course not. So being in a party affiliation, just like region, can't inoculate you against systemic oppression. So the Democratic Party, like the Republican Party, is mired in white supremacy, mired in misogyny, ableism, transphobia, homophobia, all of it. You don't take a shot that rids you of that because you're a Democrat. Is Chuck Schumer not a misogynist? Of course he is. He's a white dude. He's a racist. He's a white dude. It doesn't make him bad. It makes him human. It's like that we're all marinating in this stuff. But to say that Joe Biden is the same as Donald Trump is batshit crazy. And that is literally delivering another 4 years to a fascist who is, it's not even like reading the tea leaves here. This motherfucker is saying, I'm going to separate children from their families, cage them, and probably kill them. We have no idea what's happening in the concentration camps. Right. What the fuck is happening there? Separation of families, these detention centers, all made possible by the Obama-Biden administration. Did they? Horrible, right? Did they do this the way that the Trump administration is doing it? No. Like revoking naturalized citizenship. Right. Like my dad could get his passport revoked. It's like it's different. We have a fucking president who said he's grabbing women by their pussies and is proud of that. I mean, Joe Biden is doing the same thing, but it's hard. It's a hard situation, but to liken the two is crazy, and it's literally delivering. If we get another 4 years of Donald Trump, it's not going to be 4 years. It's going to be 40 years because that bitch is going to live forever, and he's going to overturn the constitutional amendment. He'll find a way. Everyone's like, oh, it's not constitutional. What about these people makes you think that they're interested in the Constitution? And again, though, by the way, the Constitution was created by white male colonizers. So why are we even paying attention to the Constitution? There's lots of stuff to say, but Rose McGowan is wrong.
Yes.
Okay, so I agree with the both of you because I feel like, you know what, the Democrat, I don't think it's the same, even though I have publicly said, oh my God, I have to vote for another old white man again. Damn, I can't ever get a break, But to me, they're obviously not the same. But what do we tell people? Or do we even tell people, I guess is my question. What are we going to do about these third party types? Can we talk about that? Is it too soon? Can I talk about it? I'm going in hard. First, let me start real quick. Ready? Number one, picture it. The year was 2016. It was Thanksgiving dinner here at my home. I had invited people for dinner, and then I rescinded my invitation because my friend's husband had voted third party, and that shit made me so mad at that time that I was just like, you know what? You're too stupid to be in my house, basically. So I remember saying that, and I was so hard about it that other guests who've been on our show, Maria Nagawa, it was frightened to come to my house for dinner because she listened to the podcast when we were first friends, and she heard that I had said I wasn't going to allow a person who voted third party into my house. And she was like, my husband voted third party.
Her white husband?
Her white husband. And the reason he voted third party, and I kind of gave a pass to, because she was like, he, as married, having a wife from Uganda, an African woman, he could not in good conscience for himself, for her, vote for Hillary Clinton. And
Fuck
you can
shit.
Frown and do that and do all your middle fingers, Hashim.
No. White people have to stop that fucking shit. Like, we're not at a point where we can afford those type of grandiose ideas, and like, that's real lofty and that's real sweet. But the real thing is that we need help. Like, there was no Stevie Wonder could see that there was a difference between Hillary and Trump, right? If Stevie Wonder could see that shit, how come someone else couldn't see that type of shit? And it clearly shows these people have never been trained to be in a war scenario, have never been trained to be in a conflict scenario where we need emergency attention. We use war, right? If you shoot me in my fucking leg in the battlefield, put a tourniquet on this shit so I don't lose my leg, as opposed to saying, well, no, you need the proper reconstructive surgery. And these proper plastic surgery marks have to be done, or you're going to be scarred for life, Hashim. I don't give a fuck about a scar. I need you to save my leg. And back then is the same thing. Right now, it's the same exact fucking thing. I don't give a fuck about a scar. I need you to save my leg. I need you to save my democracy. So, because of the whole thing that he said he couldn't bring himself to good conscience with, guess what Trump started doing? He started looking at those type of people, be like, yeah, we're getting ready to fuck with your immigration shit and send your ass back to, as he quoted, their shithole countries, right? So that's what those type of ideas, unfeathered ideas, unthought out ideas, get us to this situation right now. And in the process of fucking with your immigration paperwork, we're going to make it where you can't come back. And we're also going to fuck up things in here for, as he labels them, your anchor babies, right, can now live under a fucked up situation because there are 0 vacancies on the fucking federal judicial system, right, for our federal district court judges. There are no vacancies? What the fuck? And if Ruth doesn't hang on till January 21st, if we win, we will now have lost the goddamn seat, and we will only have like what, 3 judges that sometimes are problematic, right? We only have three seats there, and now we have to fight to fucking up. If we win, we'll have to fight to try to add more damn seats to the Supreme Court. But we got to take the Senate back. It makes shit so fucking hard. Why? White men, stop fucking up shit.
I think that's basically it in a nutshell. I mean, white men really need to stop fucking up shit. They do.
But they can't. I don't even think they're like capable of it, honestly, because that's something I don't believe that men should hold positions of power. I just don't think they have the right temperament for it. You know what I mean? Like, did you see how Hashim just went off? He was cursing. He couldn't even keep it together, you know?
Very emotionally unstable.
They're just so emotional.
I learned. I was cool till you brought up that, right?
Yeah.
Her white male husband was like, I can't do this, and it triggered me.
Right. But I feel like, okay, that's okay. I accept that. And so, however, I'm going to talk about third party again, even though I know it's really annoying, because, we interviewed our favorite presidential candidate, Mark Charles, okay? He's a third party, wild ass dude talking about Navajos and stuff, and he's going to make it we the people. And like, I love his campaign. I love what he's talking about. And even though I am not going to vote for him, I support him pushing that conversation. And what I have seen, I wouldn't attribute it to him, but like, hey man, I watch the DNC. You could not have told me that someone would be talking about white supremacy, systemic oppression right there on the national stage with that kind of language, with like sort of activist kind of language around it. Yeah, is it a crumb? Yeah. Do I want the whole pie? Yeah. But will I lick a crumb from time to time? Yes, I will, because I might get diabetes. So I'm trying to limit my sugar. Like, whatever.
I wish that those conversations could be taking place on a national stage with independent candidates and not be like begging the DNC or the RNC to be talking about those issues in the way they need to be talked about. Like, why don't we have independents involved in campaigning way earlier on. I've posted a couple of times about Mark Charles, and people are like, I didn't even know any independents were running still. And I'm like, they're always running. They're always out there, but they're never included in the conversation.
That's because they can't win a state race.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck off the goddamn national stage until you can win a student council. Win a state. How many state house districts have you won? How many state senate districts have you won before you try to do this shit at the fucking federal level? No.
Yeah.
No.
That's right. And Rebecca, you brought up the DNC. I do want to say this. Like, the convention, in my mind, was bullshit. And if we're trying to get people to, and young people, frankly, young people to vote, Black people to vote, brown people to vote, how about this? One of the greatest things has been happening in the past few months, which is protest after protest led by young Black people. Young Black people. Why the fuck weren't they on the stage? Why weren't they asked to speak? You know, like, do you think that the people who've been organizing these protests and showing the fuck up during a pandemic, putting their lives at risk during a pandemic, want to hear from Colin Powell? Do they want to hear from Mike fucking Bloomberg, who put their asses in jail? Seriously, it's offensive. I get how offensive it is offensive. And throwing in Sarah Cooper there, I don't think Sarah Cooper's funny. I really don't. I mean, God bless her for having a Netflix special, and I think that she's awesome, just as like a powerful Black woman. But making fun of Donald Trump at this point, aren't we? Like, it's not funny. He is not funny. He is responsible for genocide, and we are not seeing these young Black protesters given a platform. They should have been on stage. So then to say, okay, how are we going to get all these people to vote? Give them a voice. Give them a platform.
So I tuned in for a little bit of the DNC, the stuff that nobody was watching, you know, like the Young Dems meetings and stuff. And I was feeling like, hey, some of these kids are doing all right out here. You know, the things that I was hearing for the younger people that I've been, at least that's my...
No, you're good though, but give them fucking prime time.
Right.
Like,
that part.
That's it. And 312%, I agree with Saira on that. Like, enough with the fucking Republicans at the Democratic convention already.
Okay, that did make my butt hurt, honestly, and I was mad about it.
But you don't want to snatch up one of these Black Lives Matter activists that started this shit back in 2014 when Nancy Pelosi's ass was like, just placate them, don't really address them because we don't want a big ass issue with it. The same people when she couldn't admit Black Lives Matter when she was running for her chair position 2 years ago. Like, fuck out of here with all that. Yes, if that's how you want to get people involved, if you want to get them voted, then invest in them. Or, okay, listen, because you people are too hard to control, I don't want you to do your pre-recorded segment that I can edit and I can make it palatable, but I give this to you here. Like, there's so much that can be done to manipulate the scene, to at least give people a pacifier. Cool, but actually really be authentic. Don't do that shit. But if you can't control the young people, you know who you can get up there that understands the goddamn importance of this and that will play fucking ball with you? The Squad. Where is the fucking Squad? And yeah, AOC, cool, you did that for her to nominate Bernie, but fuck all that other shit. There's 3 other women of the Squad, right?
Yes.
You could have plugged in to satisfy that same fucking need that you want, but you didn't.
And Julian Castro. Where's
there
Castro?
We go. Right.
I mean, they make it so hard.
Yes.
It's like that Jerry Maguire. Help me help you.
Right.
Like, help me help you. And you know, and this is where the voter shaming stuff comes in, is you can't shame people into voting. You can show, don't tell. And we had 4 days to show.
Yes.
And we showed nothing. The Dixie Chicks, who up until last week were the Chicks. I mean, seriously.
They held on Dixie for a long time, yes.
Seriously. Yes. It's like I was saying this to my husband last night. I was like, it feels like the convention felt like the Truman Show meets the Matrix. And then you go to Twitter to watch the commentary and it's like SNL. All these people like, oh my God, the love affair of the Bidens love affair. Look, Joe Biden's out here grabbing women's asses. Like, you know, like, let's not gaslight ourselves so much. Like, we can still vote for him, but let's start telling the truth a little bit. You know what gets people excited is the truth. And you can actually hold various things at once. So how about this? Joe Biden and Donald Trump are not the same, but we also don't have to deify Joe Biden. We don't have to erase the entire thing. Having the entire constellation of people who ran for the primary yesterday, it made my head melt to watch Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders acting like Joe Biden is Jesus Christ.
Right.
You know, 3 months ago, they were pointing out every single flaw of his, and now he's Jesus Christ, and everyone's eating it up. It's like, it feels like the Hunger Games. It's crazy. So just be honest, and we can win races by being honest, but give these young people, these young Black folks who have put their lives on the line and have been protesting and organizing and protesting, give them, as Hashim said, give them prime time.
Yes.
Give them prime time, and they'll show up. People
and you know, the last time that we saw young people getting the stage like that was the Parkland students, David Hogg. That was the last time, I feel like, and it was because they were from a affluent, white rich neighborhood, and that's what I feel like. That is the time I think about when like those voices get uplifted. It does feel like, sorry, Rose McGowan, but it does kind of feel like, damn, ain't nothing changed either, because I sort of am feeling that too. But I wanted to, Saira, you brought up vote shaming. So this is not a new topic for Off Color. This is something that we, every year, because local elections are happening all the time, so we're always talking about it. So something happened to me maybe last fall, and it was on the social medias. I had posted that when Bloomberg entered the race, I took a hard line on social media, and I was like, no, DNC, not blue no matter who. I will not vote for Bloomberg. And I mean, I was like getting like death threats from my friends, like people were just like it was so crazy. And then I could see, and then having done that to someone else, I started to think about it a little bit more. And then why can't we have a third party candidate, right?
Because at the national level, it's dangerous until they prove themselves. What is vote shaming, right? Like, when I hear this from these people that say like, oh, you can't shame people into voting, like, aren't you the same people that were critical about other shit? And like, don't you call me a bootlicker because I carry my Democratic card and I go straight dim? Like, I'm a bootlicker. Is that not vote shaming? So when I turn on something and I show you facts and I talk about how stupid and how irresponsible and reckless it is for you to start that shit right now for the presidential race, that's not vote shaming. That's me pointing out your poor behavior, right? So all I'm simply saying is November 4th, day after election, win or lose, start your shit up then. Start your building process up then and win some municipalities, win some state stuff. I just can't respect vote shaming at the federal level, especially when I know that people are naturalized citizens or they're first generation people that are talking about this vote shaming type of thing. Like, you're affected by this, right? And I'm pissed that you're putting your shit into jeopardy. I'm pissed that and we move away from immigration and we look at things for healthcare. Like, you think Trump is going to give a better healthcare option than Biden? No matter how shitty Biden shit is, you think it's going to be better than what Trump has to offer? And I feel like I'm redundant almost because I don't really have anything new to offer to that except for it's stupid. And that's because I don't believe I have conversations like this with people that are not capable of being adults and thinking. Like, so why do I need to adjust my teaching methods to this? If you're a child, I treat kids differently than I treat fully functioning adults, right? So you're not a child, so why do I have to treat you like a child?
But I don't think that people who are, when we're talking about people who are voting for Kanye or people who are voting for Mark Charles, I kind of can't believe it on one hand. You know what I mean? Like, why would you even do that right now? But people are legit like talking about it. And it did happen in 2016. People did vote for Jill Stein.
He won because of a lot of stuff. Like, there's culpability to go around. Jill needs to take hers. The people that sat out need to take theirs. Hillary needs to take hers for ignoring certain things and taking things for granted. But fuck the Russians. Fuck James Comey. And fuck the voter suppression GOP people. Like, we need to really highlight and talk about that stuff too. Because that's the whole truth. Those are the facts that matter. Really fuck James Comey. Like, he did that shit on purpose and it backfired or whatever. It worked well, backfired. I don't know. Like, but yeah, he's more to blame than anybody else.
James Comey.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think he's right. He's skated off into the night, totally like unscathed because he's an extremely tall white man. But Hashim, I want to clarify something. So maybe our definition of vote shaming is different.
Okay.
Like I don't perceive like what you know your shit inside and out better than just about anybody I know in terms of politics, systems, substance, all of it. So when you're telling people what you just said, when you're telling people, give me a break, like how can you possibly not vote? Number one, and how could you possibly not vote for Joe Biden? Number two, I'm talking about people who are like living online, who are extremely online, who don't have the presence in community like you do, who are just literally arbitrarily going around calling everyone stupid, telling people they're dumb, like telling young people who are 18, 19, 20, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's not useful. What is useful is what you just said. Like, look, okay, fine, don't vote, right? Don't vote or vote for Donald Trump or vote third party. Guess what that looks like for you? That means that you and your family might lose your citizenship. Like just because it means that not just that, you and your family might get deported. You might be put into a concentration camp. I mean, these are real things. As women, I'm sincerely scared that shit's about to go Handmaid's Tale. Like bonnets. And so
me and Saira on the same page on that. Woo!
We're really tracking for that. And so I just think that when you are able to explain and take the time, which you always do, to explain. That's one thing. It's these people who are arbitrarily just dragging each other on Facebook and Twitter, and now apparently on LinkedIn and Instagram as well. Like why pick one or two platforms? Why not just drag across 50 of them? That's not useful. And also listening, like I hear from a lot of young people who say, I don't see myself. And then you've got the convention and you're like, you're not there, acknowledging how problematic the Democratic Party is and it's still better than the alternative, but not denying them the truth. This is back to not gaslighting them. Let's stop gaslighting people. And I think that goes a long way. We've all been so gaslit by this country that we're doing it to other people. And that's what brings about the kind of shaming that I'm talking about that I find to be problematic and frankly ineffective.
No argument.
This was supposed to be a knockdown, drag out fight, you guys. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it is, but we're fighting the same enemy.
That's the part. So there's two things that I don't like about it with that is one, for the Dems, as I felt Trump. It's to me, Trump is whatever. Trump is just the symptom of a very sick system, right? And a sick
He's
country.
America personified.
He's the logical conclusion. He's actually the greatest creation of all the systems that are working at full throttle. I mean, he's not an accident. And there are things that have happened along the way. Where was Maxine Waters, by the way? Why wasn't Maxine Waters given a big time slot? Maxine Waters said essentially like fucking impeach this man out of the gate, right?
From day one.
She was dragged by Pelosi and Schumer. This is where the truth is there. And then Rashida Tlaib got dragged up and down for saying impeach the motherfucker, And so back to what Hashim said, the day after the election, let's get at it. There have been a lot of us who, since the day after the last election and predicted this would happen. We're told that we were crazy when we predicted all through 2016 that this would happen, told that we were crazy. And then it happened and have been trying since then to wake the country up. And it's literally, frankly, only been since COVID when white people have not been able to go to brunch that they've oh my God, there's actually a problem here, but they didn't. I mean, where was the outrage? Like seriously, where has the outrage been? And even we had a chance to impeach the motherfucker, to actually convict him, and it didn't happen. This could have all been avoided. The 170,000 people dead right now, This could have all been avoided. And to pretend otherwise is a lie. It's a lie. And so let's actually get him out. We have to get him out. If we don't get him out, it's
I know, but
it's
I don't
over.
think we're
Like,
getting him
all
out.
gonna die.
So that is the
We're
scary
gonna
part
die.
for me, is that I don't see Donald Trump losing this election. Regardless of how he wins it, like if it's he's stealing the election, if it's Russia, if it's whatever, if it's the mail-in ballots, all of that, like that is what I will be happy to be wrong. Okay. I always say that, but like, I just think people do not understand American people. Like, I think that people are in their bubbles, in their silos, but you drive outside of the Denver metro area, and even in the area, right? Janice has been traveling in the countryside, in the Midwest. It is Trump country for real. Florida, like all that stuff, it's real.
I don't know, like, well, okay, for me, Rebecca, I hate hearing when you say he's going to get elected again.
She's not wrong.
I understand that. That's not why I hate it. I hate it because I recognize that the electorate is not as intelligent as they should be. And I really feel everybody has a part to play. Like, I want to be more critical of my beloved party, like, than I am. But I realize that I could affect things on whatever level. So I bite my tongue. Like, after the primary happened, like after Bernie dropped out, I'm like, let me just shut the fuck up. And run, like, vote blue no matter who type of mentality, because I understood the ramifications of it. But then I'm pissed at the fucking party, because what you said, what we can do, when Kamala was announced as the vice president pick, and we knew what the backlash would be, there should have been video clips that the DNC had to roll out talking about how this is law and order, right? This is how law and order works. This is what the Republican side has supported. This is the people that have lost their lives. Where are the ads talking about how Thanksgiving will be different this year and Christmas will be different? Why? Because grandma and grandpa are dead because of Trump. Like, they need to show that climbing ladder of the infection rate, the climbing ladder of the death tolls, and put point blank ass blame on Trump. Yeah, we can get down to the finite details or whatever later, but I don't give a fuck about that. We're trying to win this election. We'll deal with all that shit later. We're not doing that. We could have brought these young people up, and I'm going to keep saying it again over and over and over, and even on the state party level. We could have had the young protesters here doing these video clips. We record the video. Here's your script. Please don't go too far off, right, for us. But yet we're going to give you space and time to do this. Why not do that? But what we do, we use footage of these events, and like, we appropriate, right? We appropriate the footage and the spacing of the events, but we're not doing anything to make it relatable to people. Now, when we see this shit show next week happen, we are the most educated party, but we don't use these fucking PhDs and these sociology degrees, these psychology degrees to figure out how to market to people.
This is, okay, you just hit the nail on the head, Hashim. The Democratic Party's lack of sophistication around marketing is at this point gross negligence. I mean, it really is. It's out of control. And the Republicans, look at Fox News. I watch Fox News a lot because I'm trying to understand everything. The production value of that newscast is out of control versus CNN, MSNBC. I mean, and I think it's all trash, right? But like, they've hired incredible, sophisticated marketing geniuses to package this shit and sell it. And they're selling it. Where, like, it's what Hashim just said. Like, this could have been, and by the way, everyone who thinks that this was such a beautiful convention, it's all centrist, middle and upper aged people who are party loyalists. Great. It was like watching a documentary about your family. It was like watching a wedding video when you go to a wedding. You're already at the wedding. You already love the people who are getting married, and so you cry because you love them. It's not getting more people. It's not getting more people there, right? And so,
is that the intent, though? Is that
I
the
don't
intent?
think that they're not thinking. There is no intent. That's what Hashim is saying. There's no intent. There's no foresight around how did AOC win? AOC won not because she tried to convert the people who were at the wedding. AOC won because she got in a whole lot of new voters. She increased the electorate. instead of trying to convert the already, the converted. And that's what we have to do right now. We have to get young people to vote. We have to get young people to vote. And
I know, but they never vote.
But why? There's one thing that's.
But why? Why?
We keep doing the same shit over and over and expect for young people to turn out. It doesn't happen until you get them involved.
Right.
It doesn't.
It doesn't work.
And what about the guy that won the Democratic primary, the black gay guy that just won the Democratic primary?
Mondare, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he single? But.
Yeah, Mondare, where was Jamal Bowman? Where was Cory Bush?
Where was he? Like that's how you get, okay, so he's actually getting ready to be one of us. And this is what he's done. And like, shit, he's not as loud, but so why don't we pick up on some of that energy right in DNC?
I agree.
AOC did her shit thing before COVID. He did his thing after COVID, different type of climate times. But those are the people that we need to reach. Those are the messages that we need to sell. We're not doing that shit. Just stupid.
But see, I would even go like, it's, to me, there's a lost opportunity with also just focused on people who are electeds. Like someone like Hashim could have been on there, like Hashim's around the country could have been on there, people who are like the backbones of and I don't want to call you party loyalist in a bad way, but you are.
No, I dig it. Party
loyalists who are actually organizing. Have them on, all over the country. Have them on. It makes me so upset, and I'm still obviously voting for Joe Biden. And I think after this, we can at least say, we've known for a long time that white supremacy runs deep in both parties, that misogyny runs deep in both parties. Donald Trump sincerely is like the greatest production of he is the American dream, right? And so now that we see what happens when the American dream is taken to its logical conclusion, it's not awesome. It's Hitler, right? It's Hitler. Maybe now we can take this shit seriously and burn it down.
So all of the things that are happening, yes, I agree with you, Saira Rao. As we're wrapping it up here, I know you got to go. Saira, give me a closing thought.
The Democratic Party is deeply flawed, but it is not as bad at all. It's not even in the same ballpark as bad as the Republican Party. And if we don't vote Donald Trump out, we're all going to die.
I'll take it. Hashade?
What she said. times 2. What Saira said times 2. And I will add, should we happen to pull off a win? Should the Democrats pull off a win right now, right? Because we're doing a lot of focusing on the presidency to stop the hemorrhaging. But if we want to, if we want to make sure that we don't catch infection, we have to look at the Senate and we have to win that back as well. But should we pull off a win, we need to actually spend some time and some self-reflection, doing some self-inventory, and realize that the Democrats' refusal to grow, to develop, is going to be the thing that chokes us out and kills us. And I'm saying us as a party. It's going to kill us. If we are not adjusting and adapting, all we're doing is making 2024, making us more vulnerable to hit. And we won't survive that. If we win, this is my closing thought. If we win, if we win and do not change, we will not survive 2024.
Yeah.
So I encourage everyone, suck it up, buttercup, vote blue, no matter who right now. And then let's start having these fights on November 4th to actually make the change.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. And Saira, again, I want to thank you. I know you're super busy for taking time out to come chat with us.
Of course.
Hashim, I wanted to do a quick, or if it's possible, to talk about how the vote, what do you need to do for voting? And the mail-in ballots and all this shit, because Janice is very concerned.
Well, I mean, yeah, the pandemic has made everything so much more complicated. Right. In Colorado, it's pretty easy. Everybody gets a mail-in ballot, whether you request one or not. But in other states, that's not the case. So when we were traveling to Iowa, my partner's mother is not a native English speaker. And she got a letter in the mail that was saying, if you would prefer to have a mail-in ballot, fill out the card that's enclosed in this envelope and mail it in, and then you'll receive your mail-in ballot by this time. And it said at the bottom, like, this is not a government agency. We are not affiliated with the state of Iowa, this, that, and the other. And so she was really concerned that it might be some kind of fraud and that kind of thing. But it could have been, but based on when I looked at it, it was only including information that was publicly available, and it wasn't asking her for private information.
Did she sign anything?
I don't think she did. My advice to her was, this is probably a third-party organization that is trying to encourage more people in the state of Iowa to vote and let them know that they do have the option of mail-in voting, but they have to request a mail-in ballot. But that's not how it was phrased in the letter. So I said, if you're not comfortable with this particular form, but you do want a mail-in ballot, then go to the state's website or go through the state's official process for requesting a ballot rather than filling out this form and sending it in. But there's just so much confusion going on about, like, encouraging people to vote, but having to do it in a new way.
Yes, to all the things. But looking at that instance that happened to your partner's mother, I'm skeptical. If it's not clear, I'm skeptical, right? Like, it's like, if I give you a glass of water, you will drink the clear water as opposed to the murky stuff, right? So is this really water? What's all in this? And when this relates to voting, if it's murky, I have some issues with it. It should have just, and it really made me think of a plan that the Democrats should have been doing of, hey, you want a ballot by mail? Do this. Just lay out things, one sentence, one-liners. This will get you a ballot. Those are the type of things that the Democrats should do. But so when we look at things right now, when everything's not Colorado, because I think we have like the Cadillac plan as it relates to voting, there should be messaging, more messaging telling people to request an absentee ballot and to either drop that off or mail those as soon as possible. So that's what people need to do. If people still want to show up to the polling location, like, we need to start running another thing, because the postal service is jeopardized, right? If you go vote in person, practice social distancing. Get in line early, right? Go vote early. A lot of states aren't as good, but they have early voting times. So don't wait till the last minute to vote. Go on your first day, go on your second day, go vote in person. Then also we need to be following up, like, we'll be there to provide tents to screen people from the elements. We will have water and light snacks to provide people in line, like, just things we'll have folding chairs that you can sit in, and we'll disinfect, we'll spray it with Lysol, alcohol, whatever, for the next person to come along to help make this as comfortable for people as possible. But then we'll also have masks there. We will also have and gloves, so that you can go in and take care of what you need to go into and throw this shit away afterwards. We have to do some type of harm reduction model. We do works for people that are on the streets for drug kits, right? We do little work packets. Well, we need to have maybe a work packet for voting. We just really have to get hella creative right now. And that way we can help circumvent this whole fiasco that's happening with the postal office.
In case any of our listeners are outside of Colorado and will not be receiving a mail-in ballot, there is a lot of information on vote.org about the particular deadlines for when ballots need to be requested by, and then also when they need to be returned by. So we'll put that in the show notes, a link to that in the show notes. But that's kind of the first step, is just finding the information.
Right. We got to know the information, then you have to apply that information. This is when some of that Bloomberg money would be good right now, right? So you can target those damn states with, hey, have you voted yet? Here's this bright lime green, bright yellow, bright orange piece of paper that you receive in the mail. 5 days, 15 days until this last time for you to register to vote, until it's the last time for this. Like, that type of stuff could happen. Those type of digital ads can happen. Or you pay people to, like, I don't know. This Bloomberg money could sure help out right now.
And I recommend that you get your mail-in ballot and have a plan for voting. I mean, I think they were talking about that, right? I think our former First Lady, Michelle Obama, was saying, you have to have a plan. So make sure you know what you're going to do, how your ballot's going to get there, who's going to take you if you have to go in person, what your PPE will look like. All of those things are going to be into play. And if you have any questions or concerns about voting, I encourage you to reach out to your local state representative. So if you don't know who your local state representative is, I'm going to ask that you find that information and get on and find that out, because I feel like those are the people that are going to be most tied to your elections. Anyway, we'll keep doing our little civics here on Off Color, so make sure you're following us on Twitter and Facebook and all of that. Okay?
People don't know who their state reps are, right? Which is why Kamala is so bad, right? So Kamala is getting hit, Senator Harris, is getting hit with locking people up for like federal crimes, and she's never been a USDA, right? She's never been a U.S. federal attorney, so that doesn't apply to her. Then they get pissed at her, like, well, she was still locking people up in California. Well, then get mad at your state house reps and your state legislators, right? Because they're the ones that set up those type of laws.
Yeah, and that's why people just don't understand how government works, I think, honestly.
They don't.
I'm still half one of those people, but I know more, I think, than the average American. All right, well, thank you so much. And now...
knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, and that's it. Hashim, you got anything you want to add real quick?
Nah, I'm good. Like, vote like your life depended on it, because like real talk, it does. Like, we've seen what has happened the past 4 years. Just ignore everything else and look what has happened from 2016, 2017. That's fine. Do Inauguration Day all the way up until today. The evidence is there.
Off Color is a Tan Tigress production, hosted by Rebecca Henderson, produced and edited by Janice Matsko. Music is written and performed by James Meekum. If you want to keep in touch with us here at Off Color, follow us on Twitter, Off Color Pod, like us on Facebook, Off Color Podcasts, and don't forget to support us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com and search for Tan Tigress. Memberships start as low as $1 a month.
Yeah, so this is a wrap.